Good morning, everybody. My name is Jared O'Leary. I've been drumming since 1998, and I still got plenty to work on. In these practice streams, think of them like office hours. I'm here to practice and to improve, and if people have questions, I will often answer them. In the 460-plus previous live streams of me practicing, you can find timestamps in the description to show what I was working on or what kind of question I was answering. Now, because I get questions, because I've been drumming for almost 30 years, and because I have a bachelor's, master's, and PhD in music education, I get people who ask me, like, hey, how do I get better as a performer? Or how do I get better as an educator? And I will often edit those answers and put them into this drumming tips playlist. It's got over 100 videos, just under 16 hours of free drumming tips inside of here. And the first thing that I talk about is whatever the title is. And then if it says, and other drumming tips, then that means there are other tips in there that are not related to the title. So just check the timestamps in the description to find the different topics in there, in case there's one that is of interest to you that is not interesting for the particular title that you will see on there. Now, today I'm working on 3 different shopping sprees from SCV, back when Scott Johnson was teaching there, which I know, that sounds weird, but it's true. And in order to get motivated to do this, we're going to have Shia LaBeouf here help motivate us all. That's a good freeze frame. That's good. Quality. All right, we're going to hide Shia because, copyright. Here we go, Shia. Help motivate us all. Do it. Just do it. Don't let your dreams be dreams. Yesterday, you said tomorrow, so just do it. Make your dreams come true. Just do it. Some people dream success. Well, you're going to wake up and work hard at it. Nothing is impossible. You should get to the point where anyone else would quit, and you're not going to stop there. No, what are you waiting for? Do it. Just do it. Yes, you can. Just do it. If you're tired of starting over, stop giving up. Oh, wow, Shia LaBeouf. Everybody's super motivated now. Ooh, one more flex for good luck. Now, on my YouTube home tab, I've got over 2,000 free drumming play-alongs that you can use to practice to improve. I've also got, at the top of every one of those thousands of free play-alongs, a link to here. This takes you to jaredoleary.com/drum, which is where I've got everything organized neater than I can on YouTube. For example, in the chop section, there are 80 chop exercises in here. We're going to be working out of this shopping spree playlist here in a moment. But there's also over 1,000 grid variations, triplet grid variations, 16th note grid variations, and then some wacky ones like Herta variations or like tap-only grid, etc. Limb independence. This is what I was practicing yesterday. There's 55 drum charts that are straight and swung, as well as some permutations. And every one of these playlists links to how to develop limb independence on the drum kit. So there's a step-by-step process that you can do to also develop limb independence if you're interested in it. There's almost 500 marching bass exercises. I'd highly recommend focusing on the timing exercises. There's also a bunch of drumline cadences. And then there's over 200 sight reading exercises. There's over 400 technique exercises. So if you want to work on your, flams, go there. If you want to work on your rolls, go to the triplet diddle, the 16th note diddle, or some of the other playlists that are in here to work on your rolls. And then finally at the bottom, under the tips and lessons section, there's over 16 hours of tips inside of here. So there's all these scripted lessons. And then this particular playlist has just under 16 hours of tips inside of here. So keep you busy for a while, trying to help you out. Now, I am going to be playing through some shopping sprees. And so I'm going to go into here. Inside of this playlist, there are a bunch of shopping sprees, currently 29 sprees. Some of them are listed as members first. All that means is it's early access. So all of the 600 plus members first videos are scheduled to release over the next year and a half or so. So stay tuned. But if you want that early access, it's just 99 cents. All you have to do is just click the join button under any one of the videos, and you get early access to them. Now, I'm going to warm up with some Vanguard shopping sprees. There are 3 of them that I'm going through today. So what I'm going to do is just keep switching back and forth between them. And so I'm going to actually start all the way at 40. Inside of the timestamps here, you can jump to whatever BPM you want. I'm going to start right at 40, and we're going to go through this. And by the way, thank you, Glim, for the transcriptions for all 3 of these different shopping sprees, as well as some other ones. Here we go. This is the 1990 spree. They all start the same. It's the tag that's different. So we have flam drag. Swiss, which is right, right, left. Swiss flam drag. Now, some might think that there's actually a flam here, but there's actually not. So if you slow down the recordings in the lot clips as well as in the finals performance where they're actually playing this inside of their drum break, they don't put a grace note there. So that is correct, but there is no grace note there. Okay, so now I'm just going to go ahead and go to the next one. We're going to play through each of these one time. So this is 1991 variation, so the ending is a little bit different. And then it doesn't have the flam 5 part in there as well. But 40, We're just doing this to get the blood flowing, and then we'll stretch and massage, and then we'll start speeding these up by 5. Starts the same. Check. Flam drag. Swiss. Cheese. Flam 5s. Cha-cha-cha. Invert. There is a grace note here. I think it's hilarious. It's so goofy that it ends with cha-cha-cha-cha. But there is a grace note right here in this year. So in 1990, they don't play a grace note. In 1991, they do play a grace note right here. Now let's go to 1992. No, we haven't earned the right to play at 70 yet. We're going to 40. Now, the ending on this one is a little bit longer. Oops. Swisses. My bad. Cheese. Check into flam 5s. Cha-cha-cha. Inverts. Tag. Left, left, right, left. Yeah, so the ending here is different. So normally what we were doing the last 2 years was playing the left hand into right hand 16th notes, but this one actually has a double left right here. So left into a left hand flam fives, and then cha-cha-da-da-da, alternating. And then alternating right here, starting off the right on this grace note, and then off the left on the singles, and then we just have an ending right here, a little tag. Okay, so now let's stretch and massage, and then we will get back into these threes, and we'll go up by fives for each one of them. Now, the first stretch that I'm going to do is stretching the sides of the forearm. So you take your sticks, you hold them so that your palms are facing up. You pull in, you push through. It looks weird, but it feels good. You can find better camera angles and whatnot and explanations in the drumming lessons playlist on my home tab. It's called This Hand Routine Saved My Drumming. And you'll also find over 2,000 free play-alongs like the ones that I was just playing through. So keep you busy for a while. I'm now going to stretch the underside of the forearm. So you could pull it back one at a time like this, like I was doing on yesterday's stream. It's stretching along here. You could also do this on your pad if you want to. Or if you do this on the wall, the lower you go, the deeper your stretch. I'm going to do it there. But don't put all your weight into it. You don't want to rip your arms off. That would tickle. Up, 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 up. And now we're going to stretch the top side of the forearm. So you could pull it back like this. It stretches along here. You could do it on your legs like I did yesterday or on your pad. Or if you do this one on the wall, the higher you go, the deeper the stretch. So again, we're stretching along here. But do not put all of your weight into it. And the last stretch, we're going to stretch thumb to thumb. Stretching the fingers. So we start upper to lower, or another way you can think of it is like the larger muscles and whatnot to the smaller. I've been watching a lot of Dragon Ball. I'm going all the way back through it because I never watched all of Dragon Ball because it wasn't like available in America. I had to watch like the sub version whenever they come out to the like comic shops, get them on VHS. So I got like the Dragon Ball song stuck in my head. Remember coming home from school as a kid, watching the latest Dragon Ball Z episode. All like 700 episodes of the Frieza saga. That fight just never ended. And that was the end of the stretching. So now I'm going to do a quick massage. So I'm going to go through. I'm massaging with the thumb on the top. The fingers are massaging underneath the forearm. Just kind of working my way up and down. And then we'll massage the hands. And then finally the fingers. And then we will get back into the shopping sprees. And for today, I'm going to go up by fives. If I were trying to like memorize these and really refine them, I would go up by one click, which is what I recommend you do. You'll see the majority of my practice streams for the technique streams on YouTube are me going up by one. But for all these shopping sprees that I've done over the last like month and a half or so, I've been just kind of giving a preview of them. So I've been going up by threes or fives. But if you're actually refining stuff, just go up by one. Just let the play along go a little bit faster. It takes time, but you know what? It takes time to get better. And this is the most thorough way that you can do that. Just go up one click, staying nice and relaxed, focusing on good sound quality, consistent sound quality. And it will pay off. Trust me, I'm a doctor. So this is massaging the palm with the thumb, and then the fingers are massaging the backside of the hand. And then finally, we've got the last one is going to be massaging from base to tip of each one of the fingers. And we're staying nice and relaxed while doing it. Trying to loosen everything up. My wife and I made some flower arrangements that are like Halloween themed. There's like one over there. Super cool. I'm proud of our work. We did good. Not that you can see it, but that's what I'm looking at. Just admiring. I like having decorations that are like created by us. Okay. So we just played them all at 40. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up 5 clicks, but we're going to go all the way back to 1990. And inside of here, we're going to go to 45. Beep. Do you recommend having never playing by one click at a time? For the very, very basic stuff like doubles? Yeah, so good question, Liam. What I recommend for anyone, whether you are a seasoned old person like myself, as a 40-year-old who's been drumming for almost 30 years, or if you are new to drums, what I really recommend, especially if you're doing rudimental, is to focus on technique exercises. So what I recommend is about 50 to 60% of your time is focusing on these. Now, for whatever reason, YouTube is making it so you can't like scroll through all these. So for all of these different sections, you actually have to click on the header to show all the different playlists. But yeah, when you're playing through any of these exercises, whether you're playing a roll exercise or whatever, to really refine the technique and to play as super relaxed as possible, just go up one click at a time. That is a trick that I learned from Jeff Queen, who is a 4-time world champion snare drummer. So I got a couple of lessons from him. And that's what he said that he did to improve his rudiments, to improve the basics. And like every instructor that I've had, like people who are world-class performers or the people who taught those world-class performers that I've studied with privately, they all recommend to focus on the technique and refining that. So yeah, I highly recommend it. Whether you are have been playing for a long time like myself or are new, focus on the technique stuff, go slow with it, just go up one click at a time. 40 is very difficult to play at. There's more space in between each one of the notes, which makes it so that you can really refine your timing and control over the placement of each one of the notes. It's very difficult to do. But if you want some tips on how to practice that, this tips and lessons section, there are lessons in here that are like scripted, like, hey, here's how I recommend holding traditional grip, or here's why I practice like a beginner despite having been playing for almost 30 years. But there's also inside of here, the drumming tips. This is where it's got like almost 16 hours of me answering questions from people who have stopped into these like office hours where I'm just practicing. But that can help you to figure out like what to look for and listen for with your technique. And then there's also videos like if you don't have a private lesson instructor, there's a video that's specifically focused on that. It was a while ago. This one, so 94, how to improve if you don't have a drum instructor. There's a like 3 or 4 sections in here that specifically talk about that. So I'd highly recommend checking out drumming tip number 94 for like tips on how to practice with a mirror or how to practice with a video camera so you can like slow things down and listen to it. And then like things to listen for, etc. But yeah, there's tons of information in here on like what to focus on when you are refining those basics. But to kind of put a little bow on it, so the 50-60% of your time is on the technique stuff. And then for the rest of your time, what I recommend is like 30 to 40% of your time on grid variations with rudiment on one. So like a diddle on one or a flam on one, and then eventually get to like flam drag on one, etc. And then there's also the chop exercises. I recommend only 10 to 20% of your time on that. I'm playing them today, but I'm going slow with them. I'm just kind of having some fun with it. Guitar? No, this is called a drum. Good guess, though. Swing and a miss. Okay, so we're playing 1990 Shopping Spree, and we're doing it 40. And again, there's no grace note on that one right here. This one, no grace note. That is correct. It's not a mistake. So check, into flam drags. Swiss. Into this like interesting flam 5 measure. Check into normal flam 5s. Now we'll go to the next one. So that was 1990. We're going to 1991. And again, we're going to go in the timestamps and go to 45. If the BPM ends with a 0 or a 5, it gives you a few seconds to get yourself ready to go. Otherwise, it's just like, we'll immediately start tapping off. Dancing helps also. Improves the rolls. Very similar, but also different spree. You'll see that a lot with the older Blue Devils ones as well. They're very, like, building off the previous year. Up until 1997, that's where it, like, changes things. And there are play-alongs for all those, if you're interested, in the shopping spree playlist inside of the chop section. Cha-cha-cha. Invert. Grace note. And I'm going to leave off the shots because I don't want to damage these sticks. Even though the off-worlds, the pad that I'm using, this one, like, are pretty good at not damaging the sticks. These are extra heavy Hardeman hammers, and I don't want to break them. I've had them for a long time. Keep them in good health. I will pet him and hold him. All right, 1992. Why, hello. Welcome to the YouTube vertical. Trying to stay nice and relax on these accents. Just because I can play it faster doesn't mean I shouldn't refine it slower. Sweet. Now let's go back to 1990. We're going to go up by 5s for each of these. So we're now at 50. Woo! Faster than anyone has ever played any drums ever. 49 was the previous world record. And today we're breaking it. Maybe, though. Maybe it's too fast. Stay tuned. Looks like my internet went out. Yeah, so some of the streams, the internet went out for it. Interesting. Well, why'd you do that? Okay. Looks like it's back on the vertical. So I have like a little preview on here so I can like monitor for moments like that. It looks like the horizontal stream on YouTube is fine, but it may have cut out on Instagram and on the YouTube vertical. So, whoops. Anyways, all right, we're now at 1991. And if you missed it, I totally made a ton of mistakes. I dropped my sticks. I swore a bunch, and I threw stuff. It was weird. But, you know, the internet went out. You couldn't see any of that. Sorry. It was quite the spectacle. If I was a normal streamer, I guess that's probably what would happen. Gotta get the views, I guess. Sorry, there's a high left hand right there. I failed you. Unsub. I get it. I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Stop yelling. All right, so now we're going to go to 1992. And we're going to 50. Whoop. I almost said 95. That was wishful thinking. No, practice slow. If I can practice slow, you can too. For a lot of you, I've been drumming longer than you've been alive, and I'm still practicing slow. You can do it too. Now, when doing a rim shot, it's important to make sure that you're not like squeezing and forcing in those notes when doing it. Just like when you actually play a rim shot, I'm, again, not doing the rims because I don't want to damage the sticks. But all you're doing is just like changing the angle of the stick just slightly so you're hitting the head and the rim at the same time. You're not putting extra emphasis on it. So do not squeeze. Do not play with bad technique. Should still have a nice resonant rim shot sound. 55. Whoa. All the fasts. How fast? All of them. That's what we're doing today. Make sure that second note of the Swiss sounds like a flam accent and isn't high. Keep it low at tap height. Next, 1991. Boop. 55. So my speakers died, and so swapped with these like new ones, and they've got like some bass to it that I'm not used to hearing. I'm basically only hearing treble. It's like messing with me. I feel like I need to pop my ears. Sorry, I was thinking. So again, the Swiss here's are low. And rhythmically, it should be the exact same thing as a flam drag. You're just playing them as Swiss drags. Without, you know, messing up the interp like I did. Whoops. Cha 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 cha. I love that. I think this was one of the years that Murray Gussick was on the line. I imagine he had a say in adding a cha 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 at the end of it. He's got a goofy sense of humor. All right, 55. Whoop. 1992. Ooh, early. Sweet. 60. And we're going all the way back to 1990. Back in time. Whoop. Click. If this is too fast for you, you can slow it back down to 40. Go one click at a time. If this is too slow for you, it's not. Practice is slow. But you can also, go up to 200 if you want. So don't do this with the Swiss drags. Keep it nice and low like this. This is not the sticking boy for that measure. Just trying to prove a point. And again, no grace note on that one. That is correct. Boop. Thank you, Glim, for the investigative work. They did a great job at transcribing this accurately. But in this year, 1991, now that we're going back to the future, it does have a grace note. Mind-blowing. They did it again. See? There is a grace note. That is correct. Cha-cha-cha-cha. 1992. At 60. So don't do this on the Swisses. Keep it low. All you're doing is stopping the stick low. You're not squeezing when you do that. doing these Swisses. Don't do this. Don't do this. Then you look like a tenor player. Oh, shade. Instead, keep it nice and low. So you're just stopping the stick. Whoop. Just whoop. Don't open up the space. Keep the space closed for that. And then just put in the tap. Place it in there. Same thing with the diddle. Don't do that. Stop it. Get some help. All right, so that was 1992. So let's go to 1990, and let's do it at 65. Woo! Click. So fast. Oops. Too absorbed in the music. Didn't realize you couldn't see the music. What, you don't have it memorized yet? Come on. Come on. You've played through it like 5 times. Just kidding. Okay, so, my bad. 65. Why? Thanks for the notification. Goodbye. Matane. I like can't not laugh at that. There's just a sense of humor in that ending. It just gets me every time. Tickles my funny bone. Cool. 1992. Let's go. Like right clicked. Covering up the screen. The talking messed up the interp a little bit. Cool. We're now at 70 for 1990. It goes by quick. See, it felt like a grind at 40, but now we're already at 70. It's not so bad. Even going up by ones, like if you look in the timestamps here, like to get to 70, it takes you less than half an hour to get through that. That's half an hour well spent refining your playing. Doctor approved. Next one. Whoop. I almost just like jumped up. No, we gotta go to the next spree. Silly Jared. Tricks are for kids. $19.92. Go. Shh, shh, shh. Hush. Hush, little play along. Don't say a flam drag. Thank you for the like. If you like this play along, there's thousands more. Why, hello. Yeah, my timing right here was off. I'm so sorry. It's okay to unsubscribe. I understand. Mistakes aren't allowed in drumming. You get banished. True story. Here we go. 75. Oops. Hey. Mouse, why are you doing that? Shouldn't have given it a cookie. Alright. 1991 at 75. I gotta remember to move my mouse like away from that so it doesn't show it on there. Brian, good morning. Ooh. Well, here we go. Here we go. You're new to drumming? Well, welcome. If you're new to drumming, here's what I recommend for you. Let me show you. On my home tab, this is where you'll find literally thousands of free play-alongs. Where I'm practicing right now is in the chop section, so I'm specifically going through the shopping sprees. Don't do any of these if you're new to drumming. Ignore all of this. This is intermediate through advanced stuff right here. Don't worry about grid variations right now, even though there's over 1,000 of them. If you're new to drumming, don't worry about these right now. What I recommend you doing is skipping all of these play-alongs and focusing on two sections. One, The drumming lessons, it's got some beginner stuff like how to hold your sticks, how to practice, things like that, as well as some tips where I answer some different questions from people. But the technique exercises is where I really recommend you spend most of your time. And you can practice any of these using the timestamps in the description to go slow. But, again, go to the drumming lessons and check these out, like how to hold a drumstick, how to do the stretch and massage thing, the one that I was demonstrating earlier, ways to practice, things to listen for, etc. So there's a bunch right here. But then, again, the drumming tips one, this is where there's over 15 hours, just under 16 hours of drumming tips where I've answered different questions across the different streams. Over 100 videos in here and tons of topics for free. So enjoy that. Don't mind me asking, people keep saying we should practice under stress. How do we mimic? Good question. So, drumming tip number 60, how to prepare for performance anxiety. That talks about how to simulate that. So, the start of that video talks about how you can like do stuff to get your heart rate going to simulate the anxiety that comes with performing, as well as like visualizing like what it's like performing in front of people, or even like putting up on a monitor, like just like a video of like a camera panning across like a giant audience or something. Like those are some ways you can practice it. So check out drumming tip number 60 for how to prepare for performance anxiety, Brian. It's a good question though. But you can simulate it, you can practice it, and I highly recommend doing that. That way when you get to the actual practicing or performing rather for an audition or something, then you can be like, oh, I got this. 75. And by the way, NX. That's what it says. Yeah, my monitor's small. Practice slow when you're doing this. I've been drumming for almost 30 years, and I'm still practicing, starting nice and slow. Don't worry about playing fast yet. It comes with time. You're welcome. Sweet. Do. Oh, that's an interesting idea. Yeah, listening to the past run-throughs or even a MIDI will help you to simulate a live show. Yeah, that's a good idea. But yeah, Brian, check out drumming tip number 60. That's got a lot of ideas in there. Hey, NX, you're very welcome. Feel free to stop by and future streams, or you can just leave a comment on any of the videos. As long as you're not a troll, I respond to all the questions. But if you are a troll, you get banished to the nether, because I wield the banned hammer with ease. Life's too short to deal with people who are just trying to waste your time. If you got a good question, I'll answer it. We're back to 1990. Sweet. 1991. Click. Where are we at? 80? Wow, all the fasts. No way. 80? Who would have thunk you could play at 80? Whoa. Such a goofy ending. Approved. Do I value... Well, that's an interesting question, Brian. The through line, the thing that connects everything is the consistency of the playing. So you obviously want people to show up prepared. Like, hey, we want you to be able to play this thing. Well, you expect everyone to play this thing. If people don't show up prepared, then that kind of gives you a pretty good indicator they're probably not going to come prepared for future. So, like, obviously you want to know that stuff. But the ability to just be able to, like, quickly, like, hey, now let's play it backwards off the left. Now let's play it with flams. Now let's play an exercise with diddles, like grid or whatever. Like, the ability to just, like, quickly adapt to things, like, that is obviously a good skill to have, because when you are in rehearsals and all days, like, you're going to get to a point where they're going to make some changes on the show, and you're going to need to be able to remember those changes. So being able to adapt quickly is an important skill to have. But the most important thing is the consistency of the technique. So when you are making those adaptations, is it affecting your technique and your consistent sound quality, etc.? If not, then cool. But yeah, the consistency of your playing is more important than the other things. Like, those are important, both the preparedness and the adaptation. But the consistency overall is more important. Can you continue to play clean? Raised up that grace note. Okay, that was 92, right? Yeah, cool. So my goal is just to get up to like 100 today, which isn't like blazing fast, but you know, it's fun. Okay, so we're gonna go to 85. Click. And then we're going to play through some frustrating Silksong. Woohoo! Whoop. 85. Whoop. I wish it like didn't close out the description every single time. Guess it's giving me some practice to be able to, you know, click on the description. Slightly late on that attack. Let's see. Do I have exercises that focus specifically on molar? When you say left, right flams, do you just mean alternating flams? I don't remember their specific snare break. Do you mean like floppies? Like those? Is that what you mean? Yeah, I got some stuff for you. My brain started to play this off the right and like screwed it up, but those are supposed to be off the left. Remember that, Jared. Okay. Whoops. My brain wanted to play the other 2 years. Okay. So let me show you how to get to it from here. So on the home tab, if you scroll down, there's a couple of different ways that you can work on floppy flams, alternating flams, using whatever technique you want, but I highly recommend the Muller stuff. But if you go into the technique exercises inside of here, one of the ways that you can work on it is in the accent tap exercises playlist. There are currently over 50 videos inside of here. Lots of stuff to work on your accent taps. Now, if you scroll down in here, there are these relaxer exercises. So the relaxer exercises, whether it's the accent relaxer, or if you scroll down a little bit more, the tap relaxer, if you're doing them as threes, there is no sticking written inside of here. But what you can do is you can play these all as alternating flams. And so for this one, the tap relaxer, what you do is just start off by playing alternating flams going through this, and you would put an emphasis, a 4-inch accent over a 3-inch tap on this measure, and then you change that to a 6-inch, and then to a 9, and then to a 12. And then it just goes back, so it's slowly lowering the accents. So you're going here, 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 and then it ends with 3-inch taps. So if you play this with alternating flams, triple, 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 and then eventually to 6, and then eventually to 9, and then etc. And we're working on this. This is working on relaxing the taps while doing this. But the opposite version of this, the accent relaxer, starts off with everything high. So let's do the 3 version. Right here with the accent relaxer. And in this version, it starts off with everything big. And then you're slowly lowering the taps. So a 12-inch accent and 11-inch taps, and then a 9-inch taps, and then 6, and then 3. Okay, so these exercises, if you do them with alternating flams, it can help you to relax both the grace note and the primary note when working on this, depending on which variation that you're working on. But this is a good way that you can work on floppies. But another way that you can work on floppies is to work on grid variations. So if you go back to the home tab and you go inside of the grid section inside of here, so inside of the grid section in the flams, you can either do this with triplets or you can do it with 16th notes, whatever you want to. But there are a couple of variations that you could do with alternating flams. And if you do it with alternating flams, you can do it forward, you can do it backward. So if we go into here, grid with alternating flams. Probably a little bit too fast. But this is a good way that you can work on alternating and get nice and relaxed with it. To be able to play those. With some accents in here and trying to keep those taps lower than what I was doing it when going through it. But another way that you can work on this is to work on flams on taps. So this version, so you put on flams on everything, alternating flams, but the accents. So ta-cha-cha, 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 ta-cha-cha-cha. Okay, this is a great way that you can work on that. But outside of all of those things, working specifically on inverted strokes, also known as upstrokes, is a good way that you can practice by isolating it out rather than doing it in context where you're playing both hands simultaneously. So again, if you go back into this accent tap exercise, any of these upstroke builders or upstroke variations, these are currently the downstroke ones. Down here are some of the upstroke exercises, like upstroke grid variations or whatever. That's another way that you can work on it. Just getting that motion from the low to the high and staying nice and relaxed while doing it. So doing upstrokes are a good way to do that. So those are some ways that you can work on your floppy flams. Beep, 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 beep. Let's see. So let's bump all these to 100 for fun. Why? Because I want to start the Silk Song stream on time. I just combined the words. Look at me. Yeah, they're difficult, by the way, floppy flams. They're hard. You're welcome. And in case that was like too much to think about, Brian, and too much to remember, I will put a timestamp in here, like that says how to work on alternating flams or floppy flams, so you can just like jump right to it. So you can review the exercises again. Let's see. Your off-road pad arrived. Feels better than the Vic Firth. Yeah, so some pads, I've got a ton of pads. I've got like over a dozen of them. Some pads have less resistance, but like the off-road to me feels the best with the laminate in particular. It's the most articulated and it feels more like a snare drum. If you really want a snare feel, you could go with the ones that are like literally just like a rim and you have to put like an actual head on it to like get the snare, but like it's so close that it would help. You can never do something like that? Why not? It just takes practice. I was terrible when I started. Literally like the worst percussionist. You can do it. I keep wanting to add in an extra eighth note in there. It's not. All right, 1992, let's do it at 100. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Think they did a good job of mimicking the feel of an actual drum? Yeah, I mean, good enough. Like, you're not going to get the so-called pad hands with this. You would get pad hands with, like, something like the real feels. Like, those are quieter or more choppy if you use it, like, flip it to the black side as opposed to the tan side. But, yeah, these feel great. For the price, this is my favorite pad. But, yeah. Just for fun. Let's just go back to here and let's do it a little bit faster. Whoop. And we'll pause here. And then we will have ourselves playing Silk Song because buttons don't work. Hey, thank you for the sub. Appreciate you. Okay, that was 3 different old school Vanguard shopping sprees. Old enough that it was before I started drumming. I didn't start till 1998. I was, 5 years old when this thing came out. Look at me. Okay, so if you want to find this particular play along, it's in the chop section. So if you go to my home tab of YouTube, and there's thousands of videos inside of here, when you go to the chop section and you click on here, it's specifically in the shopping spree playlist. There's 29 shopping sprees in there right now, and there's actually 4 more that are going to be added here soon. So stay tuned for those. They're cool. So thank you, Glim, again for the transcriptions for those. They're good sprees. But this is where I was practicing today just for fun. If this was too fast for you, just slow it down. Go 1 click at a time. Pick any one of these exercises, and then something that is really hard can suddenly become easier because you're playing along to something that is going slow. But I'd also recommend working on grid variations with rudiment on 1 if you want to refine rudiments like your drags, cheeses, whatever. Try and do it both with triplet and 16th note. That'll help you out. Limb independence. I'm going to be practicing this tomorrow. We're going to be playing those 2 really wacky 3/4 straight over swung patterns. Woo! It's a mouthful, even just like describing it. But then there's also a bunch of marching bass stuff. There's just under 500 videos in there if you're interested in that. There's also some drumline cadences and score format if you're interested in that. All these sight reading exercises, these are currently all members first, but they're all scheduled to release. It's just I've got over 600 videos that are scheduled to release, the new one daily, so it's going to take a year and a half or so until these come out. So stay tuned. And then technique exercises, this is where I recommend you spending most of your time practicing. Are these exercises? There's a reason why there's over 400 of them, is because they're important, more so than the chop stuff. Even the chop stuff is fun to play shopping sprees. I highly recommend working on the technique stuff. But if you want some tips on like what to focus on when practicing, this has just under 16 hours of tips in here, and then this has some scripted drumming lessons. Or you could watch all the prior live streams. There's over 400 of those where I'm just kind of like answering questions while I'm practicing, so you can see what does it look like when I practice. Thanks for the homework. You're very welcome. Yeah. The intentionality behind your practicing is super important, Brian. If you can like set a goal for yourself and focus on some things, then that can really help out. So like one of the ways you can get some goals is by like checking out the drumming tips videos and going, okay, well, what are some things that I have recommended people focus on to like improve your rolls or flams or whatever. There's a bunch of topics in here. And so that can give you like an idea of some things to work on. Like this one, number 88, talks about how to play relaxed accent taps. So maybe that would be a goal that you could work on when you're working on your floppy flams or whatever. But anyways, I'm going to call it here. Tomorrow we'll be working on limb independence on the drum kit. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be difficult. The second pattern in particular, I struggle bust my way through it. But that's what we'll be working on tomorrow. If you enjoy any of these thousands of free resources, I just ask that you share it with somebody else. I don't sell a book or a course. I don't teach privately anymore. I don't sell an app. I don't sell educational content. All of those members first videos are scheduled to release for free, literally every single one of them. So there's not some kind of a paywall. It's just early access by clicking that join button for 99 cents. Less than $1. That's the cheapest I can make it. So not trying to make money by like selling you a product or anything. Literally just trying to do it with AdSense. And I make less than $1 a day. So you know, us YouTubers making all the monies. So if you enjoy these resources, share it with somebody else. It helps me out. If you don't enjoy these resources, share it with an enemy. Goodbye.